My wonderful, beautiful, amazing Cancers. I'm Gabriella from Gabriella's Vampire Tarot. For today, I'm going to be doing your general love reading, your 5 card spread. But before I do that, I want to offer these 12 red roses as a token of my love and appreciation for your love, support, and devotion towards my channel and myself, and also for joining me today. So, this 5 card love reading includes where the first card represents you, the second, the other person, the third, the relationship, the fourth, the past, and fifth, the future. Then I'm going to draw a Vampire Oracle for you, and then a Favoli and 1 card from the French Tarot deck of the Tarot Interdit Vampiria. But anyway, let's start with card number 1, which is you, and you get Strength. Leo energy. Maybe you have Leo placements in your star chart. Ooh, okay. You know what I see here is confidence, strength, boldness, passion, and so much courage within you. I feel like that this card applies to the ones who are single in a courtship phase. I mean, just the whole general thing, even in a long-term relationship, in today's reading. And the thing is, it's like, I respect and love Cancers on so many levels, especially that you guys are even considered homebodies, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with feeling, more secure and comfortable in your home and vicinity, whatever it may be, and stuff like that. But it's very awesome, interesting to the point where you just think, okay, it's like a lot of people, they pretty much look at water signs, like even, with Pisces, Scorpios, or even Cancers, thinking, oh yeah, you guys are just such big softies, you guys are just so, we can easily walk over you. Well, I just disagree. You don't have to be a Leo, you don't have to be any other zodiac sign, to even be considered a big softy or weakling on so many levels. Some people feel like that Leos are actually very soft on the inside on so many levels as well. But either way, it takes a lot of courage, especially, if you're about to embark on any kind of love journey, whether it's a courtship phase, whether it's dating, whether it's even, about to, propose to somebody. That requires so much courage. And that's, never underestimate, any kind of uncertainties or fears that, are all part of, relationships and stuff like that. Because, it's like those common feelings, when you're about to get married and stuff like that, and not a lot of, the groom and bride, they may be in separate rooms getting ready, putting on the dress and the suit and stuff like that. And then, well, suddenly, it's like, the term cold feet, starts, making sense, where you think, I'm actually starting to get hesitation about this. I'm not so sure if I want to proceed with it, because it's, even getting married, even if you are with somebody for a long term, there's always that one moment where you actually think, am I really, is this really what I want to do and stuff like that? Because, it's like even before the wedding, as much as how much money, you put into any kind of, ceremonial occasion and stuff like that, it's like money shouldn't, cause one to actually feel like, okay, I put in, like, let's say, well, 10 to 50,000, whatever currency you own or have and stuff like that. And then suddenly, you just want to run off and say, nope, second thought. Don't ever feel like, oh goodness, I just wasted all of this money and now I just feel incredibly guilty and bad. No. The thing is if there's something that's definitely holding you back, I would definitely listen to your gut instinct and to say, absolutely not. I can't be dealing with this right now. But either way, it takes a lot of courage and strength, well, to go either way, whether it's entering or leaving any kind of relationship for that matter. The other person, okay, this is interesting. The devil. And so, the thing about the devil is it's pretty much, feeling, bound, in a real negative situation, whatever it may be. And the thing is mind you about the devil is pretty much like, any kind of deity for that matter. It could be man, woman, object, feeling, sensation, occasion for that matter. But yeah, that's why, you probably need so much strength, well, to be, taking on any kind of devilish situation and stuff like that. And maybe, you're hoping to have a breakup or a divorce from this person, and that requires so much energy, so much passion, so much strength, so much confidence to be able to experience and to withstand any of this devil situation. I mean, if you're currently in a negative relationship, 100% your prerogative on whatever you want to do. And I know from even my personal experience that some people are either too afraid to leave a relationship or they pretty much just feel like, oh goodness, it's like, this person may be seen as a devil and stuff like that, but for some reason, a lot of people still either return or never leave any kind of devil situation because, I understand 100% a lot of people's reasons for why, they may be stuck in a situation where you think, oh goodness, it's like, well, how can you still be with that person and stuff like that? Well, the thing is, maybe they can't escape. Maybe they can't leave. Maybe there's leverage. You don't know what's, behind this whole relationship on why people go back to, like either negative spirals or any negative person for that matter and stuff like that. Maybe this person is still has a very loving and caring and charming side. Maybe you have kids with this person and you just think, I can't leave this person because of our fledglings for that matter as well. Those are also common reasons why two people who really can't stand each other or who just clash practically instantly with each other, because there's usually a reason behind that. Very heavy. Though, I love this card for the relationship, the High Priestess. And this is this is kind of like your common sense kind of card. It's like your upper book of knowledge with all of your past experiences that pretty much is kind of, came into the picture in the sense where you pretty much just thought, well, why am I still with this person in the first place? Maybe you can personally tame the beast. Maybe you can tame the lion or lioness, whoever you're currently with, in the sense where you pretty much just think, it takes so much energy and so much strength to be able to deal with this person, but I see so much love and potential. I can't leave this relationship, because on a positive note from the devil, it's kind of like the forbidden fruit kind of card. It's what you crave and desire less. Maybe you're into eroticism. Maybe you're into the 50 Shades of Grey lifestyle. Again, no judgment ever coming from me in any way, but this card is pretty much, giving you a really good explanation in a sense of clarity where, water, as long as it's clear, it usually means it's healthy. But this is also like having your upper book of experiences where you pretty much just think, okay, it's like this isn't the first time I've dealt with somebody like that, but now I'm a way different and stronger, more confident person on so many levels. So now I pretty much know how to handle this situation way better. Because in the past, you got 6 of Swords, so you were heading off towards a certain direction, but this is almost like the 2 of Cups kind of situation as well. Because normally with the 6 of Swords in the Rider-Waite deck, you see these 2 humans on a raft with 6 swords heading off toward a certain direction. I mean, maybe in the past you've, got married to this person, maybe got engaged. Any reason why you both were on that metaphorical raft heading off towards a certain direction, this was what more or less took place as well. But this could also be... For the single ones in this love reading, is, you are incredibly strong and confident, but yet, you pretty much also have this, lack of, security or faith, or maybe you're suffering from self-doubt. Maybe you pretty much just think, oh goodness, who's going to want me and stuff like that. And, that's kind of like the devil, whispering all of this negativity inside of you, thinking, well, who would want to be with you, or who would want to be with me? I'm just all these negative feelings and sensations and thoughts and stuff like that. I would try to break, any of those negative feelings and stuff like that, because, here's your beautiful, common sense that's mostly saying, why am I suddenly feeling like this? Why am I suddenly, lacking all of this negative, or struggling with all of this negativity and stuff like that? Because, the upper book of knowledge is mostly also there to kind of think, nope, it's like, A, there's no such thing as a perfect individual. B, there's always going to be, problems. Let's say that, there's a very handsome, good-looking person on the outside, but they could also be the devil on the inside. A very handsome and very attractive person on the outside, but maybe they're struggling personally with their own, lack of, insecurities and stuff like that. Maybe they're the ones, or maybe they're suffering in other ways. You just don't know what's behind every, good-looking person for that matter. And you think, well, look at them. They have the whole world at their feet. Do they? Or is it just pretty much a facade or a mask that they're pretty much wearing over their damaged mindset and their feelings and sensations as well? Because this was you already maybe heading away from something or heading towards something as well. Because in the future, you get the moon. Oh, Pisces energy, because on September 7th, we're going to have the full moon in Pisces, so this could also take place around September 7th. But the moon is pretty much guiding you towards a different route and alternative, feeling and sensations for that matter. And that's what I like to see, is that, you're pretty much just thinking, you know what, I'm just going to try, I'm just going to head down towards a new route and stuff like that. I mean, if you want to give yourself a makeover, do whatever it takes to enhance your confidence and to actually, draw a lot of people towards you, because a lot of humans are always intrigued when there's development taking place, whether, new houses are being built, when new, products are being, like, being able publicly displayed in commercials and stuff like that. They're always like, oh, what is that? Anything that's new and in the form of development just draws people because they're always just so intrigued to see what the outcome could be and how it could even be benefiting them on so many ways. So if you pretty much are having this personal internal struggle with yourself, thinking, oh goodness, I'm just not good enough for anybody, please, try to overcome, such negative thoughts and stuff like that. And please use your senses and intuition to guide you towards a way better and more positive outlook and stuff like that. Because I do see this development taking place where you pretty much have to go down the metaphorical squiggly path and head over to the to the mountains of opportunities and other ways, and see what the mountains of opportunities, metaphorically speaking, have in store for you. Because Oracle wants to continue on with the past of prison, bitterness, grudge, and refusal to let go. I know this card so well, my beloved, beautiful Cancers. Please never ever doubt other people's perspectives, because the thing was, is, it's like I'm heading off towards my 302 year, I mean, if you even get a chance to watch my previous virtual, birthday, video and stuff like that, the thing was, is, I still can't find companionship. Will I ever find it? Probably not. The thing is, it's like, the only type would be maybe a potential other vampire that I may ever come cross paths with, if they do exist out in this world. Or maybe I might come across, the vampire who created me, because I'm still in search of him to see who he was and what actually happened and why he abandoned me and stuff like that. So if you pretty much suffer just like with me, metaphorically, as a vampire, where you pretty much just saying, well, my past has been nothing but one bit devilish nightmare, stuff like that. Maybe you feel like you've just been hit with nothing but negative relationships. Maybe you've only, suffered from lack of clarity, self-doubt, lack of faith within yourself. I mean, whatever happened, it's always good to try to, break any kind of cycle of negativity and stuff like that, and try to overcome any kind of past prison feelings where you might just think, oh my goodness, remember back 10, 20 years ago when this and that happened, or when I got rejected then, or when I got laughed at then, when this and that happened. I'm sorry if you've even experienced any kind of traumas. I feel like that no person should ever be suffering in any way. But the thing is, the past is the past. We can't change the past. I can't, we'll go back to the moment where I, became a vampire in other ways. But the best way to actually heal yourself is by going out on different journeys and trying out different paths and different mounts of opportunities to see, what will actually be, decreasing and, any negative past feelings that you've, felt and stuff like that. Because Favoli wants to continue with Justice, Libra energy. Okay, so either, you're going to be finding justice. And the thing is, for any rejection or refusal, justice is in the form is where you pretty much can create this new persona of yourself. If you pretty much just suffer from like, self-doubt and lack of faith, or maybe you just have all this negative self-talk for whatever reason, because, something really negative happened to you in the past and stuff like that, I see justice taking place where you pretty much, become this very beautiful new shiny beacon, and then the people that once rejected you, refused, mocked you, laughed, whatever, any kind of like negativity that took place in your past, are probably gonna like head off towards you and say, wow, you actually got a makeover, wow, you lost weight, you gained weight, you actually did this, you did that, and stuff like that. And so what I actually see you doing, and this is my antidote for any person out there, is create this new beautiful shiny beacon of inspiration for anybody out there, and even try to maybe even guide and support other people who may be suffering, or who have or could be suffering in the future, as actually just turn into this really beautiful shiny beacon, and then just reject and refuse them. If they want to add their social media accounts to yours, or whatever the human even tells me about some of these things, ignore them and reject them. Don't say, oh my goodness, they finally want to be friends with me, or they this and that, or they finally accept me. Allow them just to actually just, create justice for yourself, to say, I actually create this new beautiful person. And that's what I see for you, is that you are this real confident, bold, strong individual, because that's who you actually want to become. That's what you grew into. Because even this is you actually having the courage and confidence to be actually breaking the negative cycle from the past, or even in the where you might think, oh goodness, the past was just nothing but miserable. I'm sorry if that was the case. I really wish no person would have ever suffered on so many levels, but yet there's nothing that anybody could ever do about the past anymore. But the best way is to try to to have movement and development taking place in your current and in the future time, so you can actually be seen as this very magnetic force that draws people towards you in other ways. Wow. Because the French Tarot deck wants to finish off with Neuf d'Argent, Nine of Pentacles. Mwah, for my beautiful Cancerians out in this world. And that's what I'd like to see, is you're finally going to have so much fulfillment. You're going to have so much abundance, taking place in your life, whether it's personal abundance, whether it's actual abundance, maybe having a luxurious job or life, or partner, spouse who's willing to support and love and care for you all the way, whatever it is. But I see so much happiness taking place in your future. But of course, justice could also have something to do with some kind of legal matter of even breaking the cycle with a devil situation. Maybe, you're finally, breaking up or divorcing from the devil person because, this person only made your life just miserable from the past, stuff like that. But I see so much positive development taking place in your future. Okay, well, my beautiful Cancers, I'm going to have to leave it at this for now. But if this reading resonated for you, please feel free to join and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. I love you guys incredibly. In a few days, I'm going back to general readings, so for now, I'm just doing love in general. But if anybody out there is interested in a personal reading, all you have to do is subscribe to this channel, post in the little discussion box below that you want a personal reading from me. I'll respond to you with my email, but other than that, well, thank you so much for joining me. There is a website on my channel called Project Page. It has the different types of prices on it, so please feel free to browse, whenever you ever, will feel like, you're interested in it. But anyway, I love you guys incredibly. Best of luck, and take excellent good care of yourselves on so many levels.